So hello everyone, thank you for joining, and I will be now sharing the screen. Give a second. So here we go. Happily ever after in Advanced BI. I had a session before that was called Calculation Groups and C#, the perfect couple. This session was an introduction one to C# scripting and Power BI and how to use C# and calculation groups to achieve pretty nice and flexible semantic models. This session is a bit different because here I won't be focusing on introducing C# and calculation groups so much. I will be focusing on live coding and showing you how can you build out of code snippets a functioning script that transforms your semantic model. So it's all what it's about today. So let's go to the introduction. So just so you know who I am, if you don't know me, I'm Paulina Jędrzejewska. I was born in Poland, in Szczecin, in Szczecin, up there. Then I was living in Germany for a while, and I was going down and down through the world, and I landed in Zurich. So I am now living in Zurich since 2 years, and I love it here. I studied business mathematics in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm now working at Betelligent, this amazing company, and where I am Power BI trainer and consultant, and I help my clients with their Power BI needs, everything they want to. I'm trying to help with that. I'm also doing some Power Platform stuff, so I have some sessions also on Power Apps since last SQL conference, so since February. Yeah, and if you want to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing, you can follow me on LinkedIn. There will be also a slide on the end with QR code. And also, I will be showing you and sharing a lot of scripts today. Well, maybe not a lot of, but some scripts today. And you can find them all on my GitHub. So there is also the link. And yeah, let's begin. If you have any questions, I'm fine if you unmute yourself and just ask the questions, or you can post them in the chat. It's fine as well. You can do it anytime. I will, because for me, it's important that you can follow what I'm doing and you understand what's happening. So if you have any questions, then you can just write the questions there. So what we are doing today. So first we will talk about what makes it the perfect couple, the calculation groups and C#. Then we will take a closer look at C# scripting and calculation groups, and then we will see the power couple in action. So we will try this all thing out. One warning, I will be coding on screen. So anything can happen in demo. So if something happens, I count on you that you can maybe see more than I'm seeing and help me with troubleshooting. And I hope we will be having fun with that. So what makes Power BI calculation groups and C# the perfect couple? I wanted first to ask you, who from you works with Power BI? How many of you? Yeah, just raise the hand. Okay, some people. That's good. Okay, that's great. Now you can put your hands down. And because there is coming the second question, how many of you use calculation groups in Power BI? Yeah, we have some people. That's good as well. Great. Okay, next question. So hands down. Who from you were using C# scripting in Power BI already? Oh, nice crowd. I like it. So we are a mixed crowd, so I will be covering the basics as well. And as I said, if you have any questions, then just ask the questions and I will try to exercise with the hands. Oh, yeah, sorry for that. I'm stopping with that now. So I came across C# and calculation groups as I was working with one client that was doing a lot of self-service. So they had a small BI team and a lot of need from the controlling, and they couldn't make all the wishes true. So they said, okay, we'll build now semantic models, and the controlling can, or other departments can do their reporting themselves. So that was nice, but if you are not using calculation groups, you will be doing a lot of DAX coding yourself, so creating measures and stuff yourself. It's pretty tiring. Then if you are using calculation groups, I will show you in a couple minutes that they are not that flexible as some people will wish they would. So that's why this power couple came here into the picture, because if you connect calculation groups and C#, you can do pretty amazing things. But let's take a look first on another slide. It's about self-service. So as I said, this whole idea came from the need for covering all the needs of other departments and not big enough team. So over the last couple of years, as I was working with different clients, I came across mostly these three scenarios for working with Power BI. So the first one is no self-service. So this is where the BI team is creating everything for the users. Users are only consuming the reports. Then we have the medium self-service. This is where BI team is creating part of the platform, part of the solution, so mostly the semantic models. And the departments, power users from the departments are creating reports. And then we have the consumers that are only just consuming the data. And then we have full self-service, is where the departments, teams are so crafty that they are able to create their own semantic models and reports, so they are full self-service. So mostly in companies, I see all of these three at the same time, just with different teams. And why I like the medium self-service so much, because this is my favorite way to do things in BI, with Power BI. I really don't like creating reports. I love the backend. I love semantic models. I love creating measures and the architecture and stuff like that. But yeah, reports are not my thing. I can do it. It will be functional and readable, but it won't be that pretty. You wouldn't say, wow. So that's why I'm giving mostly when I'm working with clients, the opportunity to create beautiful reports to someone else. And this is how this topic came, how I came across this topic and why I love it so much. So now we will go to Power BI and I will show you why C# and calculation groups, and not only calculation groups, and what can you do with all of that. So I will be sharing this screen, I hope. No, wrong screen, sorry. One too many. This screen I wanted to show you. So this is just a little semantic model I have here with calculation groups. So I have just time intelligence as a calculation groups, where I have actuals, previous year, actual is minus previous year, previous month, and that's it for now. And as you can see, you can put it in the table and it works. You can see all the KPIs here that you put, and it works, it's nice. But from my clients, I got mostly the ask, okay, but we want for the net price to have the AC PY and AC minus PY next to each other, and then the next KPI. And that's pretty hard to do with calculation groups. So the idea was, okay, then we have to define every measure, like in every time intelligence. But to do it by hand, if you have 50 measures, it's a pain. It's really a pain. So a colleague of mine came with this idea to use C# for that. And as I heard that you can script in Power BI, I was amazed. It's so great. I love scripting. I don't like coding. I love scripting. So this was amazing. So what they did, they just took the C# and used the calculation groups to create measures. They were doing this back then with hard coding and stuff. I will show you in other ways how I'm using it. So the difference between these two tables is here we have the month, we have the time intelligence as column, and we have the KPIs, the measures as values. So pretty standard. With the calculation group and C#, we have every measure separately. So here you can see they are packed in different folders, and you have all the measures for the AC, all the measures for the AC minus PY, all the measures for the previous month and previous year. And as I said, doing this by hand will be a pain if you have a lot of measures. So that's where the C# part comes in play. Okay, good. I will be asking from time to time if you have any questions, so you will be reminded to ask them. So then let's go back to my presentation. Oh, it's taken me back, but no problem. So C# scripting. As I told you, I love scripting. I started scripting at the university. I was scripting with Power BI. I didn't know what are objects and what to do with them back then. Now I know. And in C# you should also use objects, but not for Power BI. You don't have to do it for Power BI. You can just use C# for scripting, and it's also amazing. So it's easy, it's understandable, and everyone can do it. That's why I love that as well. So with C# scripting comes automation, and I have two memes with me just to they are just resonating with me. So I will give you a second to take it in. Okay, I see someone laughing. So goal achieved. Nice. So what can you automate with C#? First of all, stuff like creating and deleting measures. You can do all of this a bunch of it at a time and just let it create or delete measures for you. Renaming objects. If somebody of your company or if you are consultant as me decides that the KPIs are not called KPIs anymore, but something different, like measures or something different. They're creative. Then you can do the renaming with C#. You don't have to click every single measure and change the name. Then moving objects into folders just to give it a structure. You can also do it with C# or formatting objects. So these are the few things that we will be doing today. There are a lot more. So only thing what's stopping you is your creativity here. So you can do with C# really, really much. So why should you use C#? So C# is cool because not like me, or probably also you, it can walk through a bunch of objects in seconds. So in Power BI, you click on a measure, you change the measure, and you wait. You click on the measure, you wait, you change the name or do something with the measure, and you wait again. So it's a lot of waiting. With C#, you are using tabular editor, so it's faster first, but also it can just walk through a bunch of objects in seconds, and it's done. It's also reusable. So mostly when I'm working with a company, I create few scripts that are used for every model. So you can do this with variables and stuff. So that's reusable for every single model in a company. What forces the companies or forces the BI team to have a homogeneous structure and naming in your semantic models? And the best part of it, no more tedious task for you. So scripts C# script takes care of everything, and you can relax or do other stuff. It's mostly the case in companies. So what do you need to start scripting? It's also important. So you need at least tabular editor 2, of course, Power BI desktop. And it's optionally, but I like to use some code editor. I'm mostly using Visual Studio Code. You can also code in tabular editor, but it's not so nice and clean. So code editor is mostly something that's make my work easier. So let's go to demo. I will be sharing the other screen again. So, and we need the other file. And I will show you first my data model. So this is our data model that we will be working with today. We have sales table as fact table and some dimensions like customer, store, product, and date. And we also have in the sales table, this will be important later, we have some measures that have the name KPI, so have this string KPI in it. So we will be doing measures out of these columns. So this is our model. Do you have any questions till now? No questions. Okay. So let's go to Tabular Editor then. If you installed your Tabular Editor, you will find it under External Tools, or you can open it from normal app and just connect to your model. I will be using the Tabular Editor from External Tools. Opening. So I was playing with some settings. That's why I get the pop-up. We can just skip that. So the thing with Tabular Editor is I cannot make it bigger, not every part of it at least. So you have to just click on the plus on your screen if you want to see more. So in Teams, you have the option to just scale it. So what we will do here, so Tabular Editor. You can see in Tabular Editor your model here. You can see your tables, you can see your measures. If you have any, I have any some measures, I will be deleting them because we will create them later. And I have here as well some calculation items, some calculation group time intelligence and calculation items for AC, PY, AC minus PY, and previous month. So pretty easy. To calculation groups, we will come back later. So where can you find C# scripting in Power BI? It's up here. So there is a tab with C# script, and here you can code away. So some pretty easy stuff. We can start with the typical programming. Beginning is hello world string, and we will just print that. So let's go. And here is how I mostly debug some things I need to debug. I will just work with the output. Pretty cool thing here under the samples, you have some code samples you can use, like look through all selected columns. So if you select any columns, like from date here, it will look through them and stuff like that. It's pretty cool that they are doing this. You can also save your scripts, and that's what I'm mostly using in here. So this is it for now for Tabular Editor. We will come back. But now we will go again with the presentation. So calculation groups. What are the calculation groups? So it's feature and data modeling. That it's used like a calculation container where you just create a calculation and use it on different measures. So yeah, here we go. Important thing, you can use calculation groups and calculation items in this case only on another measures. You cannot use any calculation items on, for example, columns or other objects in Power BI. So The thing with that is there is no alteration to base measure, so your base measure stays the same, and the calculation is just put on top of it. Why people use calculation groups is for simplifying measures, because you are just putting the important calculation in the calculation group and other stuff in the measure. Also, it enhances report flexibility, and it forces consistency in models. And also the thing is, the most important thing is you are creating a calculation only once. For example, if I have previous year, I don't want every single measure to create with the previous year and actuals and stuff like that. So you're just putting it in the calculation group, in the calculation items, and you can reuse it on any measure you want, if it makes sense. Because if you have measure that only shows you a date, yeah, you don't need that. So the use cases. Mostly I see calculation groups used for time intelligence, but also for currency conversion. There is also for use cases where the dynamic measure formatting and dynamic aggregations. We will be today working with time intelligence because I don't want to dive into calculation groups so much. It's more focused on the scripts. And last thing, documentation for tabular model. It's also important. If we will be working with tabular editor and tabular model objects, and if you need any documentation, it will be in the slides. And Oliver, will I send you the slides and you will publish them somewhere?
Yeah, I will be sharing the slides after the session.
Great. So you will get all the slides afterwards, and yeah, the link will be there. And I think we will done with the slides. Yeah, let's go coding. So as I said, we will be coding live today. So if something happens, I'm sorry. But let's start with, I have to sort some things out here. So I have my code snippets. So I will be copying some stuff out, but first we will create, so if let's go here. As I said, I am using Visual Studio Code, and I will be just creating a new file. Let's call it datamines, CS for C#. And I will be saving it right here. Exactly. So we will start with this code. This is a pretty nice one. So what we will do here, I mostly start with defining two variables. The first is measure table, so the table where my measures should be put in, and then the source table, so where I will be taking my columns from to create measures. The nice thing about C# and tabular editor, you don't have to define the variables. You don't have to define the type of the variables. So you are pretty flexible and you don't have to worry about that. So probably a good practice. So I don't show you here the good practice for C#. It's just what's working for me and what I'm using, and nobody complained till now. So if you have any complaints, then you can share with me later. But you can use var for defining variables, and you don't have to specify a type. So we will start with variable, the name of the variable, and then we will take the model, tables, and measures. And that's important thing I didn't tell you about. So if I want to reference some table in Tabular Editor, I could just drag and drop. That's pretty cool. It came here with this extension, what it is. You can skip that for most things. And you always start with a model. Then you go, for example, to tables or any other thing you want to open. And then you reference the single table you want. If I, for example, want to reference column, let me just delete that, make it bigger, and this also, and this bigger. So if I want to go to a specific column, I have to go through model, then tables, select the table I want, and then columns and the column I want. If I would leave it like that, I will get a list of all the columns in my model in this table. So any questions till now?
No questions so far.
Okay, great. Don't hesitate with questions. I like questions. So, okay. So we defined the measure table. So this is where our new created measures will be saved. Then we have the KPI source table. So this is the table. Let's go back. This is the table here where we have the KPI columns. Let me just zoom it. And can I zoom in and out? And you can see more. So here, we have here KPI quantity, unit price, discount, cost, and so on and so on. So it's all in the sales table. So this is where we want to land with our script. So here we have the KPI source table. So we go to the model, tables, and sales. And now we want to iterate through all the columns of sales. So for that, I will be using the for each function. Good question. I will show that in a second. So someone asked, does add measure add a new measure if there is already a measure with the same name? It's a very good question. Let me run the code, and then we will run the code again and see what happens. So I will be iterating through the columns in the sales table. So I take so I have to call it somehow. So I will be calling it a column in KPI source table columns. So this just gives me the list of all the columns. And now, if the column name contains KPI, I want it to be a measure. So I want to create a measure for that. So this is the if I'm having here. And to create a measure, I have to take a measure table. So this is my table here. And I am using the function add measure. And the add measure takes 3 attributes. First the name, then the expression, and then the display folder. So for the name, we will just take the column name and just add the base to it. For the expression, we will just take it easy and start with just sum, bracket, then column, DAX object full name, and closing the bracket. So I have a question for you, because we have now here a name, and we have DAX object full name. Is there somebody in the audience that can tell me the difference between two of them? You can unmute yourself, you can write in the chat, whatever is better for you. I'm sure somebody knows it. Yeah, exactly. Full name also holds the name, the table name in it. So thank you, Ruben. So name just gives you the name of the object, and DAX object full name gives you also the table it's coming from. So name should be, for example, due date, and DAX object full name will be sales, brackets, and due date. So we are ready to run the code, I think. Or are there any questions to this part?
The only question that is popping up is like, hey, can you also share your final C# files that they can use them or try them as templates afterwards as well to play around with?
I have a lot of C# files already in the GitHub. I will be also adding this one from today as well.
Perfect.
Great. So let's run the code. So to run the code, I just pasted it from the Visual Studio Code, and I just have to click on this green button. So let's run it. And maybe you saw, maybe you didn't. Here we have a new folder for the base. It comes from here. We gave it in the description of the add measure. So let's open it and see what's in there. We have new measures. We have KPI quantity, we have unit price, discount, and so on with the base on the end. Let's see how it's defined. It's just a sum of the column. So pretty easy stuff. Oh, I see you are asking and answering yourselves. That's great. I love this audience, really.
Paulina?
Yeah.
The question isn't fully answered though. It's like, hey, is there and also a does not contain function to generate it for all fields except your key fields, for example? Whereas the answer, someone from the audience is answering, hey, well, you could use the same statement, but then with an exclamation mark up front.
So if you want to run some function, some code here for all the columns that are not containing the KPI, you can just go with the exclamation mark in front. So it's the negation of it. You can also, I have it in other, let me see if I have it somewhere here. Yeah, we'll do some different stuff also with where you just going through your list and using a lambda function, or it's called lambda function at least in Python. So, oops, where you just go there and define your variable, and then you are just using some logical expression for this function. So you can put anything in here. You can ask, for example, display further equals something or doesn't equal something. So you can play with that as you wish. Does it answer the question?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So we run the code. We have the new measures in here. So if I now go to Power BI, I won't see the measures in here yet. Oh, sorry, wrong file. So here I have my old measures. These are the old measures. You have to be with me because I didn't save. Okay, I will show you that later. Okay, they are not saved yet. You have to click on this little cube with the save disk you to save your measures to your Power BI file. So what happens if we run the sorry, I'm following the comments from time to time and I have to laugh. What happens if you run the code again? Let's see. It just creates the measures, but with the one after it. If we create one more, then it will be 2, and so on and so on. So it just adds the measures to your model. That's why we need to delete the old measures to create the new measures. For that, I have also some code snippets. Let me just put it differently. So we will be just going through all the measures in the measure table and deleting the measures that we already have. So we can also do something like here we can also write it with where to exclude some measures, to leave it in there. So for example, I like to put measures that I want to stay in the model into one folder and name it like technical measures or something like that, that it won't be deleted and excluded here. But for our example, we can just go there and delete all the measures. So for that, again, for each function, we will go through the measure table, the measures in it. And for the measures, we have to put it into the list to reference the measures. I don't know why, but I cannot explain it to you, but it's how it works. So you have to put it into the list to access the delete function for that. So I put it in here. I will be just copying it here. So what now is happening before the measures are created, we will be deleting the measures we already have. So let's run it and see what happens. And as you can see, all the measures were deleted from the left side and the new measures are clean again. So that's the delete. Now, what we want to do, as you can see, we have some quantities here. We have some unit columns in here, or measures in this case now. But the sum, so we have used the sum for everything, and the sum doesn't make sense for example, unit price. We don't want to summarize the unit price. So let's take a look how to do average for this KPIs. So let's go there, and we will be going to here again. So before the KPIs are created, we will be just making a distinction between two measures. So what we will do, we will go in here. I have to look at my other script. Exactly. We will go in here. We will define a new variable. Let the variable be var and dax function. And this dax function will be just sum and opening. Yeah, exactly. And we don't forget the semicolon. This is the most thing I forget while scripting. And then we want the distinction that if our column and name, I will just copy it because sorry guys, I am doing so many mistakes when I'm typing live on screen. It's really bad. So I just copied it. So what we are doing here, we defined the DAX function. So on default, it will be sum, but if the column name contains the name unit in it, we will define the DAX function, redefine the DAX function as an average. And now we just have to exchange this part, so the sum that we hard-coded into the DAX function. And now we should have the distinction between them two. So let's go to Tabular Editor, select, and paste. I will be putting this down. So with Tabular Editor, you can access everything you see also in here. So in the documentation, you can see every single attribute and function for the measures and every object in the model, but this is the pretty nice way to see what can you change for the measures. So I will be putting it down and then just run the code. And now when we go to unit price, we will be expecting average, and it worked. So great. Okay, so now the next thing is the calculation items. We are finally coming to the calculation items because we now did the base. And what we want to achieve, we want for every calculation item to create measures. So for that, we will just go to our code again. And this is here. And what we will do, so we are here, we creating measures for every column. And after that, we will go through the measures. Let me just copy the right code here. So after that, so we created our measures. And now we will be taking the base measures. So for that, I created a new variable where I take the measure table, I take the measures, and I select only the measures that are in the display folder base. So the display folder attribute of the measure, because the display folder in Power BI is no object, it's just an attribute, is called base. And also I will be taking it to the list so I can iterate through that and use it in my code. So after that, I go with for each function through all the base measures. And for every base measure, so measure in the display folder base, I will be going through the calculation items. So in every calculation item, from the model tables time intelligence, and here I left the definition from Tabular Editor because some things wasn't working. So I just left there. And then, so this is the time intelligence table. And then we have to access the calculation items. So I will show you this in Tabular Editor. So this is the table. So this was the first part. And then after the point comes the column part that you are also using in Power BI. So if I want to use it, I have to drag it in here. It's different, different style, but should do the same. Or you can just take this one, put it in here, and just with point go to. No, what did I do? Here, sorry, calculation items. Calculation items. It's not showing anymore. Why? Group table. I don't know why is it showing this option anymore, but this works as well. So you are accessing the calculation items in your table. So let's go back. Sorry for the misspelling. Okay. So then for every calculation, so we are going through the base measures, we are going to the calculation items, so we have for each and for each. So for every base measure, we are going through every calculation item, and we are then creating a new measure. So for that, we are taking the measure table, again, the add measure function. We are giving it the name of the base measure plus the calculation item name, because we cannot have two measures with the same name and we don't have it called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the DAX expression, this is a little more complicated. I am using calculate, then taking the measure and DAX object full name. And then I will show you this on this example. It will be easier for here. So I'm using, for example, here for the previous year, I take the calculate. In the calculation item, I use select measure as the variable or placeholder. And then I use the calculation item as a filter. So it's the same as if you had a table and you put there the calculation item and the measure. It just puts the calculation item on the measure and calculates it. So this is how you can access it as well. And this is what we are doing in here. So we are going through calculation items, and for every calculation item, we take the name, and we are using it as a filter. Then also the display folder, just to keep it clean. And now we can run the code. I'll copy it and paste it in the scripting part and run the code. And now you can see we have our base measures and we have AC, PY, and so on. And now when I open one of them, I can see it's calculate, our measure, and then time intelligence, and so on. I could also hard code the code for the measures. I could also hard code the code for the time intelligence. So you're free to do anything you want. This is the easiest to show you how it works. So any questions?
Not really questions, no. We have been chatting around about if the functionality was available in Tabular 2 as well. If you select a couple of measures and would like to create, for example, the time intelligence measures based on that selection, if it was available. But
so you can use, I showed you in the C# script, here under the samples, you have looked through all selected measures or columns. So if you are just doing that and select a couple of things, so I have columns here, you have to select, alter your code for measures, you should be able to do that.
Thank you.
Right. So let's go back to our code. How much time do we have?
We have plenty of time.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Loving that.
No, we have time left. So.
Okay, great. So the next thing is that if you can see here, I will make it bigger as well. The names here aren't pretty. So no user wants to have names like that, like KPI, unit discount, USD, base, PY, and so on. So we want to shorten it. We want to take the base out of it, and we want to take the KPI out of it, so we can trim it and make it pretty. So for that, let's go to the code again. Here we are. And we will just alter all of it. So we have our base measure. The base measure it can stay as it is because we will hide it because we have the AC actuals, and actuals is just giving the same measure back. It's just for the purpose of having clean code and clean distinction. So the problem with the name that we have is in here. So for that, before we create the items, we will just go and trim the name. I will copy the code and I will put it in here. Let me see, am I doing it right? I did something wrong. Yeah. Okay. Let me just. I'm just looking because my code from the last session is a bit different, and I can see why. Okay, this is okay. I did something different. I will show you what, and we will go into it in a second. So what I did here, I went once through all the columns, and then I came back and I filtered for the base measures. What we can do, we can use this measure as a base measure and then calculate the create the measures for calculation items. So we will be altering that a little bit. So let's go and put it in here. So we are now creating the measure, but we are capturing it also in one, how do you call it? Oh God. In a variable. There, I have it. And now we will be going through the calculation items, and we will be using the base measures. Let me just see if I have it all right here. Yes. So we will be doing that. And for each of these measures, we will be going in, and I need one more bracket here. So we will be taking the base measure. So we are going through all the columns, and for every column that contains KPI, we will be creating a measure. The measure will be base measure. And then for every base measure that we create in here, we will go with the for each function and create the measures for the calculation items. So we don't need that. So now we are almost where we left. So sorry if I confuse you. Okay, and one more. Okay. And I just need this one as well. And there we are back. So, and we can delete that. So I just took our calculation items and I put it in the same for each. So the for each for calculation items, I put them in the for each for the columns. So we don't have to go through the columns and then go back to the measures we created, and for the measures we created, then filter for the base measures and so on and so on. We are just doing this in one run. But now we have the measure name. It's not so pretty. That's why we'll be altering it. And for the altering of the base measure name, we will be using a few lines of code. And that's it. Whoops. I hope you can follow. If not, then just stop me and ask questions. I will explain everything again and probably better, or hopefully better. So we have the base measure, and the base measure has a name. and the base measure has a name with base in it. So we will be taking the base measure name, and we will be taking the index of base. Why? Because we want to know when does the base start to just cut it off before we create the calculation items. So these are the base measures, and we will be cutting off in here. So we'll be taking that, and we will be creating the measure name without the base. So for that, we will be creating a substring where we take everything from index null to index of the base -5. Why -5? Because of the USD quantity and stuff like that. We want to cut it as well. So we keep only KPI and quantity. And then we can also remove the KPI, or you can do it with remove, or just here with a 3 in here. I wanted to do it in an extra step to just show you that you can do it as well. And with that, we should have a pretty nice, correct measure name that we can use in our code. So just we will be taking that and exchanging the measure name here with the correct measure name. Exactly. And two more things. Because we named this one base measure, we have to substitute it also in here. And I think we are good to go. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, great. So let's see what happens. We have our code pasted, and I hope I didn't do any mistakes in here. Oh, it ran. Nice. So now we have our new measure name. So we have the AC, we have the PY, we have the AC minus PY, and we have the base measures with the quantity and stuff like that. So this is the next step. Now what we can also do, we can hide the base measures because we don't need them. So for that, we can also use a code snippet, wrong one here. And we can add it here. After we created the base measure, we can add here this line of code. So we are taking the special base measure and we are just hiding it. So the attribute is hidden, we are setting it to true. We cannot do that in here because add measure just takes these 3 arguments and nothing else. So we have to do it extra. If you want to like add formatting and stuff like that, you have to also do it afterwards. So copy, paste, and run. So if you can see, the base measures are also hidden in here. And what I wanted to show you as well is if you see here this question marks, it means that your model is not saved. So if I go to Power BI, I can see my base measures from before, but I cannot see any new measures I created until I save it. And when I saved it, it should be in here as well. And as you can see, we have AC, ACPY, and stuff like that. So back to the code. And I have 2 more things for you, and then we are done. So one is the formatting. You can also add formatting to your measures. And you can make the formatting, for example, on the name, on the quantity, USD, and so on, and also if it's percent or not. So I have some lines of code for that as well. And switching to Visual Studio Code. I have to see which bracket here. Exactly. So we created the measures for the calculation items, and then we are going back for the measures. We are coming back for the measures, but we have to have something to come back for. Right? This is here. So we have to, again, the measure we created, we have to put it into variable so we can catch it again and change that. So we have the new calculation measure. And if this calculation item name contains %, then we want this to be formatted as a %. And else, if it's not, I leave it like that right now, just so like that. So else, if the column name contains USD, we want it to be formatted as $. So with this, we will be having some formatting of the measures. What did they do? And we will be pasting here, running the code. And let's see, we have some % measures. We can take a look in here at the formatting. And as you can see, the format is now in %. And if we take a look at, for example, sales amount, because sales amount was in USD for, let's say, AC, we can see that's $1. So this is formatting. And then my favorite part, because if your power users are creating a report on your semantic model, they cannot see the definition of the measures. So they can see measures here, but they cannot click on them to see the definition of it. So what I like to do, I just put some stuff in the description. I put the base, so what's the base calculation is, and then calculation item for that. And it's basically 2 lines of code to do that. So here you have something more because in the base we have just a sum, but for the calculation item we have some more code in there. But it's all there, it's all clear, so everybody can see what's happening. So for that, I will be taking my code snippet, putting it in the code as well at the end. So after we created our new calculation measure, so from the calculation item, we changed the format. We will be going back and here. So this has to be formatted like that because of the changes in the text. But basically, we take the calculation measure, we take the description from it, and we're changing it to base and the calculation. This is just to escape the line. So we take the base measure expression, so this is the DAX code, and we take the calculation item expression. This is the DAX code from the calculation item, and we are just putting it like that. So let's take the code. I did something wrong. So Control C. Sorry, I probably hit the wrong button. And then we will be just taking it in here, running the code. And let's take a look at this measure. And we can see for the description, we have now the base is average and the calculation is just selected measure. And with that, I'm done. Thank you for enduring the long call. And are there any questions?